Prime versus Prime. Who would win in a fight between Floyd Money Mayweather and Saul Canelo Alvarez? Obviously, they fought each other in 2013 when Floyd was in his mid 30s and Canelo was in his early 20s. A fight that went the distance, went the whole 12 rounds, and Floyd won the fight by majority decision. But at that time, Canelo, in my opinion, wasn't in his prime. But let's say both fighters are in their prime. As we all know, lately, both fighters find themselves a lot in the headlines lately when it comes to the boxing world, with Canelo with his fight coming up against Billy Joe Saunders. That's happening this weekend over at the Dallas Cowboys Stadium. And with Floyd Mayweather with his fights with Logan Paul and his altercation with Jake Paul. Both fighters have found themselves in the headlines lately. And leading up to the Billy Joe Saunders fight, I can't remember who exactly asked him, but he was asked about who would win if they were to fight Prime versus Prime, Canelo or Floyd. And Canelo said he would knock out Mayweather if they were to fight Prime versus Prime. And then somebody later on asked Floyd about what he thinks, and Floyd said something around the lines that he thought it was crazy that Canelo would think he would knock him out because when they fought, according to Floyd, he thinks Canelo was already in his prime and that he was an old man when he fought Floyd back in 2013. And with both fighters, it's both fighters are wrong with the way they say things because obviously Prime versus Prime, Canelo currently in his prime. If Canelo is 30 years old, he's in his prime right now. And for his prime, his weight is at 168. 168, that's huge. That's a big boy right there. And a prime Floyd Mayweather, I would say, in my opinion, was when he was fighting at 140, like a little bit towards the later part of 135, and when he fought 140, and a little bit of 147 when he fought Ricky Hatton, and actually he still got it when he fought Juan Manuel Marquez and Shane. Shane mostly when he started to slow down a little bit, I think, but he was still, still in top shape. I mean, obviously he went out there, still continued to fight, and won against younger guys, and fought against the likes of Maidana twice, Manny Pacquiao, and he was still a very damn good fighter at the age of in his mid 30s, and yeah, he was more of a, basically what I'm trying to say is his prime is more of the 140. Let's say 140 is the prime of Floyd Mayweather. So there's a big size difference. Actually, when they fought in 2013, you can tell there was already a big size difference between the two. If you guys look back at that fight, when they were side by side after the fight or during the fight, you can tell there was already a big size difference between Canelo and Mayweather, and Floyd still put on a boxing clinic and schooled Canelo. He schooled him. If I remember correctly, I can't remember exactly. I think I had 8 rounds to 4, 9 rounds to 3, or even 10 rounds to 2, I think. But it was a clear victory for Floyd. But one judge had it all wrong. If you go back to 2013 when he fought Canelo, this judge right here, CJ Ross, somehow saw it as a draw. But anyway, like I said, Floyd is now fighting the Paul brothers. An exhibition first with Logan Paul, and chances are he'll probably fight Jake Paul next. And as for Canelo, he'll be fighting Billy Joe Saunders. And yeah, their primes are just way too different. Um, Floyd is prime versus prime. If we're actually talking about prime versus prime, so Floyd would be too small, and obviously Canelo would knock him out because he's too damn big. I mean, come on, because his prime is at 168. But with that being said, if they were to fight at like 154 or something like that, when both fighters at the time both of fighters were fighting at the weight that they were close to fighting each other, Floyd would beat Canelo. But that's just what I think. So, anyway, um, both fighters were just in completely different weight divisions when they were at their primes. So the conversation on who would actually win, it's tough to say because of the big different weight divisions. But if you actually put a 168 pounder Canelo inside the ring versus a 140 pounder Mayweather, obviously the 168 pounder Canelo would be too strong for Floyd, in my opinion. So anyway, let me know what you guys think. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I just thought I'd make this video because I see it a lot in social media about how of when they were asked about it, and I just thought I'd share my thoughts about it. Looking forward to seeing Canelo versus Saunders. Looking forward to seeing Floyd versus the Paul brothers. Let me know your thoughts. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Like always, have a great day. All right, thanks.